Eric, just imagine whenever you get on the phone with somebody, right? Let me zoom in a little bit actually, so you guys can see this good. That the prospect has 7 doors, right, that are behind them. And when they're on the call with you, these doors are all ways that they can escape. Basically telling you to kick rocks, right? Like, I'm not paying you, without buying from you, right? So through your skilled and intentional questions, you want to gather information that closes that door, each door that there is. So just imagine there's 7 doors that you have to cover during that sales process. Because all it takes, dude, is just one of those doors for you to leave open, for them to tell you, like, I need to think about it, I need to speak to my husband, I need to speak to my dog, my cat, whatever it is, right? So it's also important to remember that even if you lock all 7 of those doors, that prospect can still try to escape through one of those doors and give you, you know, smoky mirrors, okay? So you must hold them accountable to challenge them based on what they've told you through the discovery, and also the information provided on your application form prior to booking the call. So when they're, you know, when they fill out the application form, they might say, yeah, like, I'm ready to invest. I'm a 10 out of 10. This is super important to me. You know, I want to lose weight. And you're like, oh, this is a great prospect. Like, he's definitely, you know, serious, and it looks like he's ready to roll. And also the DM conversation that you're having with them as well, they're telling you and giving you all the indicators that it's a green light. And then they get on the phone and they tell you no. So for example, maybe they say, you know, I don't have the money to invest. You say, yeah, man, I totally get that. I mean, I'm just a little confused because in your application form, you said you were totally ready to invest and that you're capable of, you know, investing into this thing. Could you tell me more about that? Right, so you hold them accountable to the shit that they tell you through the application form, through the DMs, through, you know, the discovery call, everything. So those 7 doors are pain, doubt, cost, desire, money, support, and trust. Are you following along so far? Yeah. Okay. So in the beginning, you can even write down these 7 doors that you know you need to cover, but as you're going through your sales call, think about it like chess, right? You need to be a step ahead of them, making sure you slam all of these doors, right? Because you can just leave something open, like I said, these 7 doors. Let's say, for example, you forget to ask a question about how their support system is with their husband. Let's say, you know, especially that we might target women, one sec, you know, you're going to be getting a lot of husband objections. So you want to specifically ask the question, hey, does your husband know that we have a call today, right? Or, hey, you know, how's your support system look like at home? You know, is your husband supportive of you accomplishing your fitness goals or whatever? Because if you don't ask questions like that, then they're going to give you the husband objection, and then you can't hold them accountable to it because you never asked. What's up?
My question is, so every time that I hop on a call, I want to cover those 7 things, even though the client still haven't dropped me about the support. Because the other day I got a phone call with a client, no? Or with a possible client. And basically this guy, he was ready to go on everything, but he wasn't a speaker with his girlfriend because he wanted to start everything with his girlfriend. And at the end, I didn't know that. I didn't know he wasn't a speaker and everything. And the girl, she was like, let's gonna think about it, you know what I'm saying? But the guy was like, okay, I wanna do it, but the girl was like, don't think about it. So at the end, the whole situation was like, let me tell you tomorrow.
Why do you think that is? Because you left the door open, right?
Door open. So in that case, even though I didn't knew about that, you will tell me to cover those things in advance during the phone call.
The whole goal, do you know what a discovery is?
No, discovery.
Do you have a sales script?
I got this.
Okay, so during the sales script, the question asking phase is what's called a discovery, right? That's where you're asking what's your goal, what's your struggle, current situation, pain questions, doubt questions, cost, desire. And this is really advanced sales, guys. This is like 8-figure shit, like no bullshit. Okay, and I'm telling you guys, I've closed thousands of high ticket deals, and I've trained world-class sales teams. At LA Fitness, my own sales team, like, we are savage, right? What's up, guys? Hi. Jag, what's up, my man?
What's up,
Good to see you, bro. Happy to have you here. What's up, my brother?
Nice to meet you, man.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you, girlfriend. Nice to meet you. Yeah, guys, we haven't even started. I'm just giving them some value on sales. I know you're struggling with sales a little bit too, even though my man hit 10K in the program too, so good job. But yeah, so where was I? The discovery is when you're asking questions, and ultimately your goal in the discovery is to prevent objections from coming, right? So you want to ask questions anticipating what that objection is going to be, which is why we ask like, hey man, I noticed that you're married, you know, congratulations, man. And I'm just curious, does your wife know that we had a call today? Right? And he's like, no, I didn't tell her. Oh, well, is she supportive of your goals? Yeah, of course she wants me to lose weight. Got you, man. Do you think that she would be against you fixing this problem and losing weight and making sure that you prevent diabetes? No, of course not. She wants me to prevent diabetes. Oh, okay, great. And let me ask you a question, man. Do you guys make financial decisions together, or are you kind of like a lone wolf? Before dropping the price and shit, right? Because then he might tell you honestly, like, yeah, dude, like I speak with everything about my wife. And then from there, you can just say, well, yeah, dude, that's totally fair, man. Why don't we reschedule and have the wife on the call? That way there you can close them both on the call. You're far more likely to close a deal with the wife on the call present than you are without her. Because then what happens is he goes to her, he's not capable of communicating the value. You know, she's like, oh my God, that's so much money. What if it doesn't work? And all this shit. And by the time you know it, you lost the deal, right? Versus you can potentially overcome the objection with the wife there, sitting down with her, speaking to her, seeing what her concerns are with money or whatever it is. Does that make sense? So we need to close all these doors, and that's a good example of one of the doors you need to close, especially speaking to women. Okay, so pain, an example of pain is like, what is the problem that is going on in the prospect's or life, and how are those problems affecting your life inside and outside of the business or other areas? So for fitness, you know, maybe they don't feel confident on the beach, maybe they don't feel confident with their loved one, maybe they're not having sex. It's that deep, right? Like I've gotten on the call with guys where they like can't get their shit up because they aren't fit, honestly. Like they're straight up telling me, I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, how can you live like that? Because to me, sex is important. I'm gonna be straight up. Like, I'm not gonna live with my thing not working, you know? Like, so, and so any man to have that issue is kind of like a problem, you know? So it could be something that is deep as that, but whatever the pain is, you wanna figure that out. Doubt, like what is the prospect's level of certainty that this thing can actually work for them, right? So that's gonna be, you know, a way that you can get them to believe in your product more is talking about clients through the discovery, sending them homework prior to the call. Eric, that's another thing you should do, bro. Like create a quick 5-minute video that you send them explaining and walking them through transformations, a little bit about the program so they have information prior to the call. So it's just easier to close. Do any of you guys remember before you got on a sales call with my team, the videos that we've sent to you, the emails and all the nurturing process that we've given you? And did it help somewhat, at least a little bit, you become a customer of mine? Right. So that's the whole idea, is we're overcoming objections prior to the call. Why? Because marketing is more scalable, right? It's more leverageable, right? If I can already have you 50% sold before the call, that means I need to pull less teeth before selling you, right? So what is their level of certainty? That's what doubt is about, which we can prevent prior to the call by having the right marketing strategies, follow-up processes, and all that. Cost. This one is, every coach misses this. And I cannot express how important this is. If you guys leave anything about sales today, do not ever skip cost questions. You too, in the gym membership. Like think about what it's costing them by not signing up to that gym. They're gonna stay fat, they're gonna stay nasty, they're gonna stay out of shape, they're gonna stay lack of confidence. Like what is it costing? Yeah, the program, I mean, I know how much your gym is because I go to it. It's fucking $200 a month, right? But what is it, 150, whatever. But what is it costing you by not signing up to this gym, right? What is it costing you by not showing up to this gym, by not consistently showing up for yourself? I mean, it's already been a year and you haven't signed up to another gym. You don't have a membership anywhere and you're 30 pounds overweight. What's it costing you by not getting started today? You know, like, what do you, like, how long are you gonna think about things? How much is it costing you by thinking about things? So that's, you know, that could be time, that could be finances, that could be energy, that could be peace of mind, that could be relationships, right? Because like I said, like, your fitness causes issues with your relationships. If you don't feel good about yourself, you're not gonna treat your woman right. Your woman's not gonna treat you right. She doesn't feel good and confident about herself. So those are all things that are costing them when they're staying where they're at. So during the discovery, you wanna ask questions like, hey man, let me ask you a question, dude. You know, it's been about 3 years since you've been thinking about getting in shape. I know you tried keto, you tried this, you tried that, and nothing really seems to work. And you know, I know how tough that is because I've tried those same things. But let me ask you a question, man. A year from now goes by, would you be okay if things were the same? So this starts getting to think about their future pace. Like, okay, what are things gonna be like a year from now if I'm still fucking 30 pounds overweight, I'm pre-diabetic, and I'm about to be fully diabetic? And then if they tell me shit as deep as that, like how many of you guys have gotten calls with people like have health issues and shit like that? Oh my God, I'm gonna put my foot so far up their fucking ass, I'm gonna make them feel completely like they need to change now. Because I'm gonna be like, well, what did the doctor tell you? What did they tell you to do? They told me to do nutrition and exercise, obviously, right? And then I'm gonna be like, got you. And what happens if you don't figure out nutrition and exercise? A year from now, 5 years from now? Yeah, that wouldn't be good because I'd be fully diabetic. Got you. Does that run in your family? Yeah, everybody in my family, especially Latinos, everybody in my family has diabetes. Let me ask you a question. Does your mom and dad suffer from that? Got you. So do you want that to be your future? No, I don't. Yeah, do you want to like be sticking a diabetes needle in your ass and fucking your ankles swollen up and not able to like run or anything? No. Okay, so this sounds like a pretty big thing you want to fix now, right? We don't want to keep thinking about things, am I right? Because this starts future pacing them, like what's the cost of them not moving forward? You know, so when we're on the call with fitness coaches, we're like, dude, like you're fucking making $3,000 per month. What's going on here? Like, we're not going to say it like condescending like that. We're going to say the tonality is really important, right? So you want to be like, yeah, man, you want to like say it with a concerned tonality. Like the way I speak is very kind of a little bit arrogant. So you don't want to say it like that. You know, you want to say it like a concerned tonality. Like, hey man, diabetes is running in your family. You're pre-diabetic. The doctor's telling you to fix this ASAP. You know, let me ask you a question, man. A year goes on from now and things are saying maybe even worse. Would you be okay with that? So tonality is really important with sales because it allows for you to lower the resistance of the sales call, right? You know, so it just gets people to trust you a little bit more versus you being like, bro, you're a piece of shit. Like, you don't want to change this. It's not going to help you sell. You want to be like concerned tonality about their, you know, current situation. Desire is very obvious. I mean, this one's easy. You know, what's the goal? Why is it important to you? Right now, sometimes you can go through desire, like where they want to be, but they kind of give you surface level questions. So you don't want to just like allow vague answers. You paying attention, Eric? Don't allow for vague questions. When someone tells you, yeah, man, I want to get jacked. That's super vague, you know what I mean? Like, tell me more about that, man. Be really curious through your sales calls. Really try to understand like what they want to feel like. What's that vision? How do they want to look 3 years from now so you can really get a good understanding of what their why is. Because they don't have a big enough why and pain point here, it's going to be really hard to close them. So, you know, don't be afraid to like dig if you feel like you're not getting, you know, enough out of the customer. Now, for you, you're getting a lot of money objections. So, once again, through the discovery, right, you want to anticipate the 7 doors or the 7 objections that are going to come up, which is pain, desire, cost, money. So, straight up ask them, dude, you know, I know you mentioned that you're ready to invest on your application. You know, would you say you're in a good position to invest right now, or is things kind of tight? Curious. Now, if they're like, dude, I can fucking invest. I don't care how much, you know, just tell me how much it is. Yeah, man, we'll get in that in a little bit. Now we got them. We're going to hold them accountable to that when they tell us, oh, that's too much money. Well, what do you mean, bro? You just said that money's not an issue. You can hold them accountable to that. You know, that's like you speaking to me and I'm like your fitness client, bro. And today I'm like, dude, I have all the time in the world to just quit my job. Like I'm ready to get in great shape. And then tomorrow you're like, yeah, let's go to the gym, bro. And you're like, oh man, I'm really busy. I can't go. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? You just told me yesterday that you have all the time in the world. You know, so you want to hold them accountable, not like a dick, but more like, you know, really relaxed tone. Like, yeah, man, I get that. You know, it's pretty expensive. I get that. But how do you feel about the program? You feel good? Yeah, I feel amazing about it. Okay, got you, man. And I'm a little confused because earlier you said that you have all the money in the world, that you can definitely, you know, you're ready to invest in yourself. So if, you know, what's really going on here? Do you not feel good about the program, or is it truly that you don't have the money? Now this is going to start to isolate what the true objection is, because it really may not be money, right? It might be something else. Support, we already covered that. That's like the wife, you know, who a support system wife, husband, that sort of stuff. And then there's trust. This is the toughest one. Again, this kind of comes down to the same thing as certainty. You know, but basically it's like, do they trust you, your process, your methodology? But questions, for example, would be like, can you see how, you know, when you're going through your offer, for example, you're like, okay, man, so the first thing that we're going to do is dial in on your nutrition. That way there we can help you lose 10 to 15 pounds of body fat per month, guaranteed, while enjoying your favorite foods. And then you ask them after the pillar, after like this is going through your offer, you say, hey man, do you see like how this can possibly help you drop that body fat and get rid of the diabetes? When they say yes, you know, they both say yes, and we know they're kind of like certain about, and they're trusting the program and process itself. And then you can dive a little bit deeper. You can say, well, what makes you feel so confident about it working for you? And this gets them to sell themselves, right? Another good question that you can do is like, a lot of times in the beginning of our discovery, as soon as someone hops on a call, we're just straight up like, yeah, man, so I'm just really curious, you know, what brought you on the call today? Was it the content? Was it something that you've seen? You know, what kind of brought you on the call? And almost 9 times out of 10, they're like the testimonials, the social proof. They're like, it's ridiculous how many clients you guys have that are crushing it. And this allows for us to know that the person somewhat trusts us. And then we could dive a little deeper. Well, could you be a little bit more specific like that? Is there a specific client that you've seen that you kind of resonated with, or, you know, what's got us on the call here really, man? And then they'll kind of, you know, tell you what part of the process that they really like about it. So for you, Eric, you can say, hey man, you know, you took 30 minutes out of your schedule today, and I'd just like to get, you know, start these calls off by getting an idea about where you want to go. This will open the floor for us. You know, what kind of brought you on what made you want to hop on a quick 30-minute call with me today? And they're going to open up. They're going to be like, you know, they're going to start telling you like, oh man, I seen your content. I see how dedicated, consistent you are, and I want to be like that, right? And you can be like, okay, man, well, can you tell me, you know, more about what you're possibly looking for some help with? And they're going to start opening up about that. And you got to widen that gap as much as you can. You got to create the urgency before dropping the big bomb, you know, $2-3 grand on their ass. Does that make sense? Is this helpful?
Yes, sir.
Cool. So sales. Yeah, that's called the 7 Doors Framework. It's probably one of the most important trainings I've ever done. But this is your actual sales script. And you'll notice all 7 doors are on here. You have the pre-frame, which I like to keep it really, really, really simple and short. Or I'm sorry, introduction rapport. So the way I usually do it, well, first of all, you have positive self-talk to get your mindset prior to the call. So this is before the call, just getting yourself mentally prepared. And like my man said there earlier, you want to help people, right? So you should say that before the call, like, I'm going to go in this call and change this guy's life. Like, I'm not here for the money. I'm here to help this person make a decision to make an impact in his life, you know, and truly want to help the person. If you go into the calls truly want to help people, you guys will close more deals without even having to be a sales pro, right? So see where it says focus on serving, not selling, okay? Get yourself in a good posture, right? Confidence. Do some push-ups, right? Get the good chemicals in your brain rolling before you do your call. That way there, you're prepped up, you're ready to go, because, you know, science proves that when you get good oxygen flowing to the brain, you're gonna perform better overall as a high performer. Okay, so there's like a little pre-call ritual, and there's introduction rapport. I like to just get right into it. You know, too many salespeople are like, yeah man, how's your day? How's your cousin? How's this? How's that? Like, fuck all that. You know, that's ridiculous. Like, they know they're there to purchase something potentially. Just straight up be like, hey man, you know, stoked to be talking with you today, man. And the beginning of the call is pretty basic, man. I'm just gonna get an idea of where you're at, and I like to actually use a hand gesture here compared to where you'd like to be, just to see what that gap looks like, to see if we can help. And then towards the end of the call, you know, I'll walk you through what we have, and if it sounds like, you know, it might be what you're looking for, then we can talk about possibly taking some next steps. Does that sound good? So what this does is it relieves the sales resistance, because they're expecting you to be like, I want a decision now or never, right? And that's what most salespeople, average salespeople, will teach you to do, is to just be like, yeah, man. So, you know, by the end of this call, basically they're like, I want a yes or I want a no. No in between, no thinking about it. I used to do that, and it used to work, but the market is changing. People are less trustworthy, so if you go in with less sales resistance, you build more trust throughout the call, which we all know that trust gets people to buy, right? So I keep it really simple. Hey man, you know, I'll walk you through it. If it sounds like, you know, it might be what you're looking for, we can talk about taking some next steps. How's that sound to you? So they're like, oh cool, this guy's not like trying to take all my money today. Yes, I am actually. Yeah. So after that, after the pre-frame, you know, which should take you 30 seconds, we're just gonna get right into the dream outcome. You know, all right, man, so before we dive in, you know, let's start with the exciting part in mind. Like, where would you, if you could snap your fingers, 6 months from now, where would you like to be? How's things look? So we're just getting an idea about what their dream outcome is. Want to know what that is, like where they want to be. And then once they give you that outcome, dig more, because most people are going to give you pretty vague answers because they may not trust you and open up enough. So you'd be like, yeah, that's awesome, man. So you want to lose 20 pounds? Can you tell me more about that? Like, what does 20 pounds look like to you? And 20 pounds is 20 pounds, but muscle, like, tell me more about that, man. Like, how do you want to feel, right? So we dig a little bit about what that future state looks like for them, that dream outcome, because how can we sell them something if we don't know what they even want to look like or what that dream looks like? Because we are selling transformations, not a product, not a pill, not a fucking, we're selling a transformation. So we got to know what the transformation looks like then. Do you want to look like The Rock? Do you want to look like Jean-Claude Van Damme? Do you want to look like me? Like, what do you want to feel like? How do you want to look, So after we, get through that is what we call the connection questions. And this is where we just build rapport and learn about like their current situation. So like what they're doing right now, okay? Yeah, man, that's awesome. So you want to lose 30 pounds, look like The Rock Johnson. So, where are you currently at like right now? Tell me about like what your routine looks like. I'm going to the gym 3 times a week, but I'm kind of inconsistent, blah, blah, blah. Okay, got you, man. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're inconsistent, right? Dig in there. Why is it? Is it busy schedule? Is it kids? Is it, I don't know, whatever it is for them, you got to figure that out so you can solve that problem, because we got to solve a problem here, right? Okay, man, cool. So you're a little bit inconsistent because you got kids, you got the busy job. Totally get that, man. Now, what have you tried in the past? Have you tried anything like HIIT workouts or keto or, I don't know, what are some of the things that you've tried? I've tried this, I've tried that, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. And how did that work out? Right? You see how I'm just like digging and trying to get more and more information out of them so that they open up? And then like, this is a good question too. Like, have you ever worked with a trainer? Why? Because of skepticism. Have you ever worked with an online coach or trainer before? Because they might tell you a bad experience. Yeah, I did, but the personal trainer, gave me a keto diet. I couldn't, it wasn't sustainable, dude. Like, I wanted to kill myself. So knowing that information, when we make the offer, we want to be like, hey, John, do you remember when you said you used to try keto and this and that? Yeah. Well, the reason why that didn't work is because it's unsustainable. So instead, we're actually going to have you eating way more while dropping more body fat. You know what I mean? Because he might be in fear of trying another thing that's the same methodology that just doesn't work. And then he's not going to sign up if that's the case. Okay, it's problem awareness questions. You want to identify the struggles that they're facing.
Just one question. Is there a specific reason why you start with dream outcome and then go to the current situation, not the other way around? Like, do the opposite.
I don't think it's like supposed to be one way or the other way. I think either way is fine. Honestly, I've tried both ways and I haven't really seen a difference. The important thing is like thinking about the 7 doors that we have to close. We just need to cover them, right? And we wait for the harder questions a little bit later. Like what's the cost of you not moving forward? We don't want to ask that off the bat, right? Because that's just like a little bit abrasive. But yeah, I don't think it really matters if you start with goal.
If you have like data that like you back it up, like because like I know there's like this idea of like the contrast idea of like you start with like something nice and then you like this is what you need to do and then you go to what he's doing right now and it's like a stark contrast. Like he's definitely not gonna get there by doing what he's doing. I don't know if there's specific like
No, I think somewhat there is, like that's why it's in order, but those two things aren't too big of a, because as you see, we're starting to get into like the pain now, like problem, but after the goal. But I think it's important to know the goal first so we can figure out, what's standing between them and their goal, and then we could figure out, the problem after. But I've tried both ways. I haven't really seen too much of a difference. Yeah, so the next part is problem awareness. Just basically digging a little bit more about the things they've tried, how long they've been struggling with that, and dig. Like, don't let them give you surface level questions. The reason why a lot of people don't close, honestly, is because like you guys are allowing for surface level questions. Does everybody know what that means? Yeah, what's that mean? Give me an example.
Like things that, somebody that, like, they're not trying to trust what asked.
Yeah.
So like, how do you feel? Oh, great. Okay.
Exactly.
Great, you know. But like going deeper into that is actually like building up that trust and building up that vulnerability to where you're able to break down, you know, what their pain points are.
Yeah, exactly. You can't stand for that.
Yeah.
And usually the reason for that is just sales resistance, right? They're just like,
Because I've used that before when like I got into a call and I asked this guy like, the first thing he said was like, yeah, I'm feeling great. I was like, why? Like, well, why'd you book the call if you feel great? He's like, oh yeah, well I wanted to talk to you about that and open straight up.
yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to get through that brick wall.
Yeah.
You'll get guys kind of with egos and who won't accept that they need help. You know, not some people are just not closable. You know, that's the reality. But sometimes it is the closer's fault that they're not getting the opposite of surface level questions because like the way they're asking or the tonality, you know what I mean? So, but some dudes are just like, dude, I'm good, bro. I just wanted to see what's up. And you're just like,
Yeah.
You're not good.
you're like, okay, cool, man. And no matter what you try, so, okay, yeah, man, okay, so what made you want to get on the call today? I just wanted to see what's up.
What do you want to achieve?
Yeah, but well, tell me, man, I mean, if you're good with where you are, why would you spend 30 minutes with me today? You know, like, oh, well, in the DMs, you told me that you wanted to shred some more body fat, right? So what's that look like? But yeah, some people can still just be super resistant. Pain questions, really important. This is really just the goal with this is to deepen the conversation around their current struggles and just highlighting the pain and dissatisfaction. Right, so think about it, one sec, Jag. Think about it as, you know, when you get a cut, you're putting salt on the wound. You're just like really opening it up and building that gap even more, right? So when you think about where you're at versus where you want to be, how does that make you feel, right? And I know that you mentioned this is kind of affecting your relationships with your family. You mentioned that you're not able to keep up with the kids. You have another one coming along, and that's been a little bit challenging for you. Can you tell me more about how that makes you feel? Right? Go ahead, Jag.
So sometimes when I'm trying to get them to go a little bit deeper, I feel like if I ask them too many personal questions, they might want to jump off the call, or that might create the resistance. So how would you kind of introduce, like, to get them to open up without also creating resistance in the sales call?
Say that again, the last part.
So how would you kind of like if they, let's say they give you a surface level answer, how would you make them go deeper without creating that resistance between you and the prospect?
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, so like they'll say, like they'll clearly have a problem. They'll be like 300 pounds, 350 pounds, and they'll be like, yeah, I mean, it would be nice to lose the weight, but they're like, but my life won't change that much, or like it's not that big of a deal, or something like that. But then I would say like, well, then why are you on the call, or something like that? Well, you said that you're.
That's why.
You know what I mean? Or else, but they'll say like they're at risk for diabetes, they're at risk for, you know, their heart, everything like that. And I'm like, they don't seem to have a sense of urgency. If that kind of makes sense. But I don't want to turn them off and then get them like put their back against the wall. If that kind of makes sense.
Well, if they're bringing up those health issues, once again, dig a little bit deeper. Oh, got you, man. Well, have you gone to the doctor for this?
Okay.
Yeah. What was his recommendation? Oh, okay, got you. Are you aware of, you know, what can happen if this keeps going on? Like more like a curious, like you're dumb and I don't know what happens if you keep having diabetes. He's really curious, like get them to spill the beans, and instead of you saying what the side effects are of diabetes, get them to say it, right? But what happens if diabetes gets worse? I'm just curious.
So don't tell them, but have them tell me. If that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
There's nothing more powerful than getting them to say that they need to solve the problem versus you. You can tell someone up and down, like, you're a fat fuck, you need to lose weight, you're gonna die, as much as you want. It's far less powerful than them telling you, I have diabetes, I'm gonna die. I know I'm giving you really extreme examples, and that's just to like give you context and help you understand it, right? So it's way better for me to ask you questions. How's your business going, right? It's going good. Awesome, man. Where would you like it to be? I'd like to be at 10K a month. How would that make you feel? Like for me to eventually get you to say like, hey, I need more leads. I need more. Oh, what happens if that doesn't happen? You know, what do you think you need? Instead of me being like, oh man, you need more leads. You know, I want you to say you need more leads, not me. You know, same thing with the fitness. You want them to say like, hey, I need a solution to this, not for you to say it. So just keep asking questions to dig deeper, but really, really, really super curious, and your tonality matters. Like the way you responded when you were, it made me like, oh, like calm down, bro, you know? So instead, just curious tonality, like really calm tonality. And that could be tough because you got kind of a deep voice, I get that. You know what I mean? Like you're a manly man, but yeah. So tonality definitely helps. You know, the way you're asking, the quality of the question too, making it longer, like you see how like some of these are, and even pauses, verbal pauses, right? So for example, and this is a little bit advanced, like when you think about, John, like where you're at versus where you want to be, you know, how does that make you feel? What does it do to your confidence? Like the way you ask?
You also sound kind of confused.
Tonality.
Yeah.
Tonality.
Yeah, for sure. And it's really hard to master that. I wouldn't say I've mastered it because I just feel like I naturally don't have a good tonality. But for example, when I'm training my sales closers or looking for a sales closer, one of the things that I'm looking for in the interview is good tonality. I'm like, oh, this person sounds like a sweetheart. That's what I want, because a sweetheart is going to get them to open up, which means they're going to be a better closer than me. Like my closers are honestly better than me. You know, a lot of people have this false belief like nobody can close better than me when they're scaling their business. We're talking like 50 grand, 100 grand per month. But actually, if you get someone you can get someone better than you. You really can. Gap, all right, so this is the one I was talking about earlier. All right, this is really, like, you guys cannot skip these questions. The gap consequence questions. Just take a look at it for a second. We still got some guys that are fucking late here. So I'm trying to just get them rolling. Gap consequence questions, so important. And you know what you should do too, Eric, is you should listen to Jeremy Miner a lot. When I was my own closer, right? When I was closing my own deals, I used to get up and listen to Jeremy Miner's podcasts every day. And I know people in his program, I don't want to put this on camera, but it's okay. I know people in his program, actually it's okay to put this on there. Even myself, a lot of this shit I give you guys in the course is on YouTube. Like honestly, everything I give you guys, you can find on YouTube for free. Literally. I literally give the gold gems away for free. You can go to my YouTube and do it and make $1 million. I'm not kidding you. Same thing as Jeremy Miner with sales. And I know because I have clients in his program and I've looked at the scripts, gone through the training. I'm sure you'll get more value if you join, obviously. But my point is like, you can learn a lot from our free stuff, from my stuff. And especially Jeremy Miner's, his, you know, he's better than me, I'll be honest. His sales training is phenomenal. So I used to wake up and I would listen to his sales stuff for like 30 minutes to an hour. I would like walk around here because I used to live across the street. I would listen to his sales stuff and other sales guys, mainly Jeremy Miner. And that's how I learned about tonality and just being like less like salesy and more like, you know, curious and stuff. And it really helped me. It helped me with training my team as well. So shout out to Jeremy Miner. So those are questions like, hey man, and honestly the script is like almost modeling his. Like my old script was different but similar. So if nothing changes, John, you know, let's say 6 months from now and you know things are the same or maybe even worse, how would that affect you? Is that something you're okay with? Or does it feel like it's time for a change? Or another good one is, hey John, I know that you mentioned you've been kind of doing this for the past 3 years and spinning your wheels and gaining some weight, losing some weight. You know, what do you think this is kind of costing you maybe in time, frustration, even money and relationships? What do you think it's kind of costing you by not have a solution to this problem? Is this making sense?
Yes.
So it's getting them to think about what the cost of them not finding a solution, figuring this thing out. So it's a lot, it's psychology that we're going through. It's, you know, we're trying to get them to really think about the cost of them not moving forward, building that gap so that it creates urgency for them to move forward today, where you want them feeling like, I need to solve this problem now. Like, this is so painful. How do I fix this thing in just you know, like just get it off my plate. I want it gone off my life now. And when you guys are creating content, same thing. It's just in a shorter time frame. You want to solve problems, or you want to create urgency with your content. Sales is ingrained into your marketing. And if we can create content that's solving these and overcoming their objections prior to the call, I call it belief shattering content, then we can have them sold prior to the call because they remember these things. They're like, well, you know, I just remembered in one of your pieces of content, you said, you know, that if I keep procrastinating, I'm never going to get in shape or something. Making sense? So your content, like you can create this stuff too. And as you're going through and asking questions and they're telling you this information, you should be writing it down and creating content on those problems so you can solve it. Then there's spouse, which we already kind of covered. I think that's pretty straightforward. Do you guys want me to go through that again or no? No? Okay. Urgency questions, very simple. You know, hey John, you know, I know that you've been trying to do this for a while. Is this something that, you know, is this something that is like a now thing for you? Is it more like a can that we're kicking down the road? Is this really important to you to solve this problem now? Oh yeah, I don't want to be fat anymore. Cool, man, I love that. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this for you to solve like right now? You know, I want to see you there in 3 months at XYZ result. How important is it to you though? 10, I'm all in. Beautiful. And that's the commitment question too.
1 second.
Yep.
Do you, what I used to do on my social school, I asked this question twice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious, like, why you, like, what's the reasoning of asking it at this point?
The urgency?
Yeah, after this point. Because like, I always like to create the urgency as soon as possible. And then I asked it, like, near kind of like where you are now, or like even later. I was just curious.
What's the point of asking it? Well, we're towards the end of the discovery now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is like we're done with questions at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually ask that like about last is, like I said, you can ask it a little bit earlier on. You got to know when to flow, like you kind of feel it, you go with the flow. Like sometimes I might ask cost questions earlier on because some people really open up, like immediately you ask one question and the person's like, and they already covered the whole discovery. You're like, God damn. Like, like I've had calls where they're talking for 15 minutes and I'm like, all right, the program's 10 grand. And they're like, let's go. I'm like, because they answered all my questions for me. So there's no point of you even going through a lot of the questions because they've already given you the information. And then it's just going to be repetitive and you're on the call for an hour and you haven't even pitched yet. You know, sometimes they might create that urgency for you. They might be like, dude, I want to get started so bad right now. So what's the point of you asking, you know, like, hey, dude, like, you know, how soon do you want to get started? Because they just gave you the information, you know, so you just skip it at that point. So you got to know when to feel it out and like, you know, like when they give you those indicators, it's like playing ball. You pass it and you're like, you know, you just take the ball with it. From there, it's time to present the solution, right? I usually, you know, tell them like, great, man, you know, based on everything that we talked about, it sounds like this is a top priority for you. You know, the good news is I can for sure help you out. I've helped hundreds of coaches like you grow and scale their online fitness business. And then I personally like to bring up a testimonial, right? And I'll say, yeah, we actually just helped our client, Carly. She lives right next to you, make $15,000 in her first 30 days. She's crushing it. And she was struggling with the same thing. She only has 1,400 followers. She didn't know where to start. And she had no clue how to market herself. In only 30 days, she made 15 grand per month. I would love to show you how this all works, but you tell me, John, where would you like to go from here? Right, so for you guys, it'd be same for fitness. John, you remind me of my client, David, and he was in the same situation as you. 2 kids, working long hours, and he had no clue where to start. I've helped hundreds of guys like you, dude. And this man already lost 30 pounds in the past 3 months. I'd love to walk you through the same exact system I can do to help you with personalization. But you tell me, John, where would you like to go from here? This is when they give you permission to pitch them. Now you can get into your offer. Does that make sense? So, you know, from there, they're usually going to be like, yeah, like, what does it look like? What's it, you know, and you did a good sales call when they're begging, like, to know about the program and pricing prior to that. Like, dude, like, just tell me about Just tell me, like, because that means they want to solve the problem. It's so urgent for them. They're like, dude, like, just tell me I just need to fix this now. Like, hold on, bro, we'll get there, you know? So that's a good thing, actually. People usually fear that, but it's actually a good thing if they start asking, you know, early on during the discovery. Any questions about this? No? Was this helpful, Eric?
Yeah.
Was this helpful, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah? Was this a good sales training, would you consider?
I'm gonna use it now when I go back to the office.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, guys, I put it this way. I helped a new salesperson last year, Emilio. He started with only $100,000 in closing experience working for a tech company. So he's only made like $2 to $3 grand per month. So my sales training got him from making that to $15,000 per month, closing at a 40% rate. So I'm telling you this, what I teach for sales works, period. If he's brought in up to $200,000 for our company alone per month on his own. So that's, in revenue. In cash, it was like 150 for him. Okay, so he made 15 grand in a month as a fucking 19-year-old. So if I can teach a 19-year-old how to close $150,000 in a month, and he did about $1.5 million last year alone, then I can teach you guys how to sell. And really, like, what I noticed about him is he's just a really great listener. He listens to me, he listens on the calls, he asks his questions, and he keeps the offer very simple. With the offer, this is really important. Most of you guys, the biggest problem I see with most new salespeople is they get their customer lost, confused, and they don't prepare themselves prior to the call. So if you suck with your offer, get that shit so good in your brain you can spit it off the top of your mind fluently like a rapper. Like Lil Wayne spits his bars and hops on on stage and just boom, like he can say what he has to say naturally and sound amazing. That's how you want to be with your offer. You want to know it off the back of your hand. But it should be 3 to 5 minutes is kind of stretching it. 3 minutes long where you're talking about your solution. And sell the transformation, not the product. Sell the outcome, the dream outcome. You can skip all the bullshit and just tell them like, hey, I'm going to help you lose 30 pounds in the next 90 days, guaranteed while eating your favorite foods. And it's $3,000. And you're better off than saying, yeah, you're going to get trainer rides, you're going to get this, you're going to get that. They don't give a shit about what they get. They care about the outcome. That's it. So for each one of your prospects' pain points, what you're going to do is clearly articulate where they're currently at. You're going to describe your solution for solving that problem, and you're going to clearly communicate the dream outcome as a result of joining your program. It's that simple. Does that make sense? So 3 pillars, usually I like to keep it. Some people like doing 5 pillars. It's way too much. Okay? A confused buyer who can finish this.
It's not a buyer.
Never going to buy. If you confuse them, just keep it simple, keep it shorter. Right? Do you find yourself, Eric, talking a lot during your offer, coaching them and shit?
Yeah.
You're like, dude, you gotta push it. I'm in this program. Like, Kyle taught me how to do this, and now I'm telling you, bro, you can't do that, bro. You gotta push your mindset. I love that about you. I really do. I really admire you, Eric. But you can't do that on your calls. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can't be like, bro, you gotta get your mindset right and this and that.
It's not repetition. It's all like mental things. Like that's what I literally would tell them.
And that could be a really good part of your program, right? It could be your 3rd pillar, the accountability and mindset. But the way you want to communicate it is not coaching them, but just explaining why their mindset sucks, why they need your mindset training and accountability, and how they're going to feel as a result of it. You get what I'm saying? Like really short, 60 seconds long of explaining it. So you gotta like train yourself to be able to communicate, this much value in 60 seconds basically, versus, maybe you're doing 180 seconds right now or 5 minutes, And then once they join the program, then you can give them 30-minute lectures,
Yeah. Get them motivated.
Yeah. So you'll notice right here, it says first, pain point, solution, dream outcome. And that's it. It's very short, very simple. So for example, the guy with the diabetes, John, great. So the first part of the program, my man, is the nutrition. Okay, so do you remember when you said, and I like to say, do you remember when you said X, Y, Z? So this is called labeling. because we're labeling what the pain points that the prospect said, because that's going to resonate more than anything. So I'll be like, John, do you remember when you said you can't play with your kids and that the doctor said that you're pre-diabetic and you want to prevent that from happening, right? Yeah. And did you like doing keto? No. And Jenny Craig didn't work either, right? No. So would you say that this is a problem that we need to solve now, but in a way that's sustainable? Yes. Great. So in my program, what I'm going to do is show you how to eat whatever you want while dropping body fat in moderation. So we're not going to give up all the foods that you love. We're not going to have you in the kitchen cooking all day because you got kids. But instead, I'm just going to show you a realistic way where you can drop 10 to 15 pounds per month while enjoying your favorite foods sustainably. By the end of the 90 days, John, you're going to know exactly what to eat day by day, and you're going to drop at least 30 pounds. Feeling better than ever and playing with your kids just like you were 19 again. How's that sound, John? So that was about 60 seconds maximum. And I just communicated how he's going to feel with his kids, with his family. I'm painting that vision, that outcome, so he's like, oh my God, playing with my kids and losing his body fat, just painting that amazing outcome. Second, okay, and then I always like to say, what you don't want to say, do you have any questions on that? Because it's an open-ended question. And you're just going to be like, no. You want to say, what questions do you have about that part? Because then that forces them to use more times than not say something, ask a question. Okay, so what's that? You know, this clears the confusion because once again, confused buyers don't buy. Or I'll say, do you feel like based on what we discussed earlier about you not figuring out the nutrition thing and dropping the body fat, and you want something sustainable that you enjoy, that this will work for you? Dude, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Awesome. That's what we want to hear. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Cool. And then you move on to the next pillar. Go ahead, bro.
So, Eric, when you ask, like, do you feel like this is what this is gonna work for you? What if they say, I think so, but I'm not 100% sure. Like, if you were to say, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, let's say they say, yeah, I think it'll work, but I'm maybe like.
You're a truck driver, whatever it is. I think you help like truck drivers. Plumbers, right? Dude, I get it. I'm a plumber myself. It's tough to find the time, which is why I found XYZ method to allow for you to burn body fat in only 90 minutes per week. Can you give me 90 minutes per week to prepare your food? Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna give you the stuff to eat on the road, the same shit that I eat that's got me feeling like a fucking Greek god out here. You know what I mean? And he's gonna be like, oh, you know, like, John, I am a plumber. You know, I am a plumber. I know what it's like. I'm gonna give you the same stuff I eat, and I'm only in the kitchen 60 minutes a week, bro. Can you give me 60 minutes to drop body fat and be with your kids again? Yeah. Okay, great. How you feeling now, man?
And then they're gonna say, well, now I feel like a 9 or a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. But at least it's higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sometimes people don't want to say 10, you know, and that's okay, but we do want to just, the reason for that is to overcome any concerns prior to dropping the price on them. Because if there's concerns or they're not for certain that your program is going to help them in a way that they want to do it, then they're not going to move forward, no matter how rich, poor, fat, ugly they are. It doesn't matter. Okay? It just doesn't matter. You know, I cannot tell you like how many times where, you know, the customer just didn't move forward. And I know for a fact they're saying all this shit in the world, but I just know they just didn't trust me. They didn't believe in the program and process. Or sometimes they don't believe in themselves, and that's a really tough one to overcome. Really tough.
How do you kind of get them to overcome that, like to start believing in themselves on the call? Like, how could you show them a little more about that? Would that just be like the overall sales process would cover a lot of that, and then it's still like...
It helps, right? By, you know, when you ask that question, for example, you know, what brought you on the call? Was it the content? And they might say testimonials, this, but always social proof and stories and belief shifting shit, right? So John, I get that you've tried all these things in the past and they never worked. Do you mind if I challenge you for a second? Yes. Okay, great. John, have you ever drove a car before? Of course, I'm a plumber. Yeah, obviously, right? That'd be ridiculous if you didn't. So let me ask you a question. Did you just jump in the car and start driving by yourself? No, I didn't. What do you think would happen if you just jumped in the car at the age of 17 and started driving? I'd crash and die. Exactly. Same thing with your diet, man. You're jumping in the car and you're just crashing and dying. So when you first jumped in the car, you probably had someone there to support you, show you how to shift the gears, show you how to turn. Same thing with plumbing, man. You didn't just start putting pipes together by yourself. You had a mentor, you had a coach. So it's the same thing here, man. Do you think that the reason maybe why you're stuck is because you haven't had that, mentor in your corner, someone supporting you, showing you how to drive the vehicle? Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what I'm doing is I'm belief shifting. I'm saying, hey dude, this is why I'm here, is to support you and show you how to drive this vehicle to go from A to Z. Are you with me?
That's fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that we don't even I know my sales director is good, but
Yeah.
this is good. I can use some and use it on my
Yeah.
on my selling pitch for my memberships.
Gym sales ain't got shit on me, bro. LA Fitness ain't got shit on me, bro. That's where I learned sales initially, was at LA Fitness.
That's it.
Yeah. And they're hard sales people.
Especially LA Fitness.
Their sales process is decent. I learned a lot from them about sales, but their sales philosophy and psychology is not the greatest. Yeah, I learned a lot more through mentorships and personal experience and that podcast, bro. I'm telling you, you want to be a badass salesman?
What is it called?
Jeremy Minor, 7th level. He also has free courses and shit too. You can find.
Jeremy Meyer?
Jeremy Minor's a badass.
Yeah, already subscribe to them.
Yeah, he's a badass.
He has a book also that just came out. That's pretty good. I read it.
It's good, yeah?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Is he good than Andy Elliott?
I'm not a fan of, I like Andy Elliott as a person, as a company. I fucking think he's awesome. The guy's obviously good. He's sold millions of dollars, so I can't, I just haven't taken the time to listen. He's not my style. My style is more I really like Jeremy Minor's style, where it's more soft, psychology, really dig into stuff. But I think Andy, I'm a big fan of Andy Elliott, but I've never actually really dove into his sales trainings and shit.
No, of course.
You know what I mean?
No, but that pitch says use on everything. So tweak some things. So.
Yeah. There's a couple other good guys, but I really just Jeremy Minor. I really like Hermosi's sales trainings too. His are solid. I've learned a lot from him. He's got some solid sales training too. Damn, we just fucking went deep in the weaves of sales. I did not mean to do that. I'm trying to get you to be a fucking Grant Cardone by the time you leave this, Eric.
You gotta call tomorrow.
Yeah, if you close tomorrow, man, I want 50%, bro. I'm just joking. I'm just fucking with you. But I truly hope you're going to close it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right, let's get into the marketing and stuff now. Because these people are just late. They're kind of assed out.